Okay, well, here it is. Start of my boat. It is a little plywood boat that I saw Paul Elkins on YouTube has a video out. Saw it, went, oh yeah, I got to build one of those. Sent off, got the plans, got a little plywood, some pine, some resin. Started building it, and here I am with the frame almost done. Uh, Try not to bounce you around too much. I'm not a boat builder, but I'm definitely not a cinematographer, so bear with. But anyway, the boat is just a little bit wider than the one that Mr. Elkins has in his video. And I decided to build it sort of on a strong back. Strong back being just an old wooden table that I already had in the shop. But it's mostly 1x pine. Got really good, clean, clear lumber. And tried to make all of my joints tight. And the transom is just glued up pine. And I also beefed up the inside frame a little bit to give me a little something extra glue surface for these joints. And this curve right here was a nightmare. So instead of trying to steam bend it, I just cut it out of one piece of pine shelving board, just cut the profile, cut both sides at the same time, sanded them down, and then put in a scarf joint, which I'll also back up on the back side and on the top side. And there we are so far. Okay. Well, flip the hull. And there she is so far. Got all the frames in, minus a couple of reinforcements for the bottom for the seat. And one upper frame for the top there, because I'm not sure where my deck lid's going to go. Ply stuck really well. It's thickened epoxy. I wet out the frame a little bit and the ply a little bit. Let it soak in, then nailed it. You can really see that there's a good bead of epoxy on the inside of the frame and on the outside of the frame. I'm not going to have to do many, if any, fillets. And the light's bad down here, but the mahogany is really pretty. It's going to make a nice thing. Okay, got the bottom on my little boat. Got the sides on my little boat. Really like the grain on this boat. It's a real pretty plywood. And don't know if you can see it, but sanded the ply real smooth, and you can see a nice bead of epoxy under it, between it and the front bulkhead. Now when I put the sides on, I left it a little proud. I'll come back in today and sand all that off, and knock that off smooth, and it'll be time for epoxy. Again, I'm just tickled about the grain. Hope I can do the epoxy right. And the transom, I'm going to leave the nose piece and the transom white, I believe. Yep. Sanding and epoxy. Yeah, I forgot to mention in the last little video that about these bronze nails. They're 5/8 inch bronze nails. I got them from Duckworks or Chesapeake Light Craft somewhere, I don't remember, but they really look good and they hold. And they blend right in with the plywood. Put them about every 6 inches, a lot closer at the corners and on the transom and nose piece. Yeah, they don't look bad. I'm going to be putting a board over this on the sides and the top trim piece, so you won't see those. But the ones that you see on the hull and the bottom of the sides, I don't think they're going to look bad.
Putting the second coat of the epoxy on.
Like how this is going on.
Good. It's going on well.
Okay, finally got epoxy on the inside of the boat, just like on the outside, just to encapsulate. You can kind of see how shiny it is. It's not the smoothest finish in the world, but except for the open cockpit and the area here where the seats are going to go, you're really not going to see any of the interior. I picked the prettiest side of the plywood for the outside, but the inside doesn't look too bad. You'll see this side and the other. Now, when I did my epoxy, I used thickened epoxy to glue everything down, and I got a good tight water seal. Here on the inside of the transom, I put it on really thick, put 2 or 3 coats on it because it will keep the water out. On the sides, they're shiny. There'll be one more sanding on these and some varnish, but for now it looks pretty good. Here's kind of a view from the front, and you can kind of see reflections in the side. Get varnish on that, get it sanded out nice, that'll be pretty. See the nose piece, really put a lot of epoxy on the nose piece, and on these braces inside because they'll have holes in them, and that's where I'll bolt my handles on. The floor, one tiny little spot there that I made a hole in, but I filled it with epoxy, and it should be stronger than the rest of it. And you can see my scarf joint. I backed it up and put thickened epoxy under it and in it, and that's a pretty tight joint. I'm not worried about it giving up. And I also got the braces for my battery box right here, and the braces for my seats right here. And kind of another view from the top. The back area here, from that backrest back, that'll have a hatch in the top, and then when I get the top on it, which hopefully when weather warms up I'll be able to do, varnish it, and I can start putting trim on the sides. What I'm going to do, this area here where these two meet, I'm going to put just a very thin strip all the way around. It'll cover up those nails, and then a piece of trim where the plywood meets on the top. I think I'm going to use cherry for the outer and ash for the top, because the top will be the same pretty plywood as the sides, to give it some contrast. And I do like that grain.